Hey folks, it's Mr. Bureau here. Welcome to your first um, lesson or tutorial on Fusion 360. So we're going to get started right here. And the first thing I want to show you is when you open Fusion 360, it should come to a screen like this. So at first, it might look a little bit intimidating. Don't worry, it's actually not that bad. Um, if you just follow over here on the left-hand side, you'll see what we're going to make as our first project. So this is the Bureau dice. So it's just a die. You can customize it, and it gives you the good sort of grounding into what to do or how to model in 3D and the basic tools that to get you started. Okay. Um, so this here is sort of your um, drawer that allows you to access your personal designs. So if you've worked in Tinkercad, you will have the same kind of thing where you have all your designs listed. So it's kind of mimicking what you may already know, as well as what people that you have here. So you can see Team and Adam. I've already shared some of that work with that person, so you can share your work as you create it. So, anyways, this becomes a repository of your designs, your drawings, assemblies, these types of things will go into that drawer. You can also minimize or close that data panel, okay, and then it will disappear and bring your screen over. So when you're in this screen, okay, your first instinct is start clicking all over the place, and try not to do that, okay. There is in the top corner over here, you'll see front, top, right, and this is like representing the 6 different primary views, okay, from what we call orthographic projection. If you don't know what that means, don't worry so much. Just that top or the bird's eye view is kind of coming in, and you can see the z-axis there, and the x and y is the x is the red line, and y is the green line. Okay. Also, this button. So let's go back to this ribbon. We call this usually a ribbon. Okay, at the top, it contains all your tools that you're working on. So the first one here is design. So you should be in design. You can notice there's other things that you can do. So you can render your designs and make them look realistic, which is super cool. You can generate a variety of different types of designs. We may eventually use something like that later on. Animation, super cool. Simulation, testing, verifying, make sure the product is going to meet specification. That's pretty neat. Manufacture is where we actually generate tool paths, or we machine something, which is going to be useful in the future for sure. And then drawing is of course making the final drawings to be able to manufacture them in the shops. So we should be just basically starting in design. Okay, that's where you need to be, and that should come up automatically as by default. So before we create our first sketch, I just want to show you a couple of things. If you're working in millimeters, which for the first die or making the cube, the dice, you need to be in millimeters, and you would go here to the top right, click on it, hit preferences. Takes a minute here for it to come up. And in preferences is you want to set all your preferences. And down here in default units for design, this should be set at millimeters, okay? For this project, it needs to be set at millimeters. It's important. One thing you got to remember is once you've set it and you haven't drawn anything yet, you haven't clicked on it, you haven't drawn, it's going to draw in the units that it's set for. So if you start to draw something and you realize the units are incorrect, you actually have to close that and start again, but set the units properly before you create your next part. Okay, because as soon as it's drawn, it's stuck with the units that it's in. In other words, you can't change the units once it's been drawn. Okay, all right, at least not easy. So that's the first sort of steps to get you started. So one little thing as well, I'll get through navigation when we actually make the first cube, but I just want to give that as the first intro as to what we're doing.